I think mostly on dead balls, like I'm the best. I think I'm the best transition player in the league. That's where I thrive. Everybody knows that's my game. So, getting the ball off of rebound or in transition, like that's probably when I'm going to be the primary ball handler more than anything.
Act 1, the outrageous reality check. Catch a Dime family, pull up right now, dial in, and lock into these numbers because what Caitlin Clark just did over the weekend against the Seattle Storm is not just a record. It is a literal statistical anomaly. We throw around the word historic way too much in modern sports media. But what we are looking at right now is something the WNBA has quite literally never seen before. In just an 89-78 victory over Seattle, Caitlin dropped 21 points, pulled down 7 rebounds, and dished out 10 assists. Now, to the casual fan watching the generic scroll on ESPN, they think, oh, that's just another great night at the office for number 22. No, dig deeper into the analytical layout. That performance marked her 12th career game with at least 20 points and 10 assists. Why is that absolutely mind-boggling? Because she just broke the all-time WNBA record for the most 20-10 games in league history. And she didn't just break it, she completely shattered the entire space-time continuum of women's basketball to get it. If you want the raw, unfiltered truth behind the film study and the real stats that the mainstream media is too lazy to break down, the ones who know that championship identity isn't just about hitting logo threes, but about having the execution to rewrite history, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and slam that notification bell right now. Hit that bell so you never miss an emergency upload. Let me contextualize this jaw-dropping speed run for you. The legendary Courtney Vandersloot held a massive share of this record category with 10 career games of 20 points and 10 assists. It took Vandersloot 436 games to get to 10. The great Diana Taurasi has 9 of these games in 565 career appearances. Caitlin Clark just stood alone at the top of the mountain with 12 of them in just 57 games. Think about that parameters shift. She reached a historic, career-defining ceiling roughly 8 times faster than the absolute icons who pioneered the point guard position. Act 2, the Sunday Night Clinic. What makes this specific record-breaking performance against Seattle so elite is the sheer, unadulterated efficiency. Early on in the 2026 season layout, the talking heads were trying to create a narrative that Caitlin's perimeter gravity was fading or that her outside shot was flagging. Well, she completely muted that noise. She was 2 for 4 from deep, executing deep-range logic from the Gainbridge Fieldhouse logo, and she notched those 21 points on only 10 field goal attempts. Cash register sound. But check the clock layout, because this is where the production value gets completely ridiculous. She didn't even play a full shift. Head coach Stephanie White pulled her out of the contest with 8 full minutes remaining in the fourth quarter because Indiana had completely blown the game wide open, leading 77-58 at the end of the third. Caitlin Clark did all of this damage in just 23 minutes of floor time. If she plays her standard 34-minute distribution, we aren't just talking about a 20-10 double-double. She was actively pacing toward a historic 30-point, 15-assist masterpiece. Watch this clip right here from the broadcast. Tyrese Halliburton is sitting courtside, and he literally calls the three-pointer before it even leaves her fingertips. The defensive structure of the opposition doesn't even matter. Act 3, Sophie Cunningham's phone case response. But look, we cannot break down the tactical layout of this game without addressing the absolute psychological war that completely changed the competitive energy of the league this week. Let's talk about Sophie Cunningham and the viral phone case heard around the world because we saw cheap shots, hard screens, and players trying to physically intimidate Caitlin Clark and Lexi Hull off their lines. But Sophie Cunningham stood completely on business. She delivered an incredibly heavy, unyielding blow to anchor this team's structural toughness. Notification bell sound. The ejections happened, the fines were built, and the mainstream media instantly began writing their articles about unnecessary escalation. But instead of laying low or issuing a corporate, PR-approved apology script to the front office, Sophie leaned completely into the smoke. She took the exact high-definition freeze frame of her standing over the competition, slapped it onto a custom phone case, and walked directly into the arena tunnel, flashing it to every rolling camera lens in the building. This is absolute marketing wizardry and an elite business play. She literally turned an impending league fine into a highly profitable retail merchandise campaign. By leaning heavily into that enforcer moniker, she completely neutralized the penalty by driving her personal merch numbers through the roof. More importantly, it sends a permanent tactical warning notice to the entire league layout. Any free hits on Indiana's backcourt are officially closed for business. If you touch our superstar, you are going to get an immediate receipt and it will be commercialized before the next morning's shoot around. Act 4, the statistical correction and locker room fallout. On Saturday night, the WNBA league office quietly issued an official statistical correction from Friday's overtime battle against the Washington Mystics. They reviewed the tape, realized the scorekeepers missed 2 clear court actions, and retroactively credited Caitlin with 2 additional assists. That overnight change bumped her lineup, meaning she actually broke the record while sleeping on Saturday. Then she immediately added insurance to her own milestone. Let's look at the player quotes postgame. Because even after rewriting WNBA history in less than 24 minutes, the locker room was standing lock-in on their standard. Let's listen directly to the floor layout. I always take pride in being able to set my teammates up for success. That allows our team to really get flowing, and I can do a really good job of that. I only played 23 minutes tonight, and I had 10 assists, so I think it shows the potential of what this team can do offensively. They've got to make the shots for me to get the assist, so half of it is them, and I've got to set them up for success. Audio host. That is pure leadership layout right there. She instantly shifts the praise to her teammates. And let's give flowers to the supporting cast and Coach White's tactical adjustments. With Aaliyah Boston sidelined day to day, missing her first career game to snap an unbelievable 127 game streak, Maisha Hines-Allen stepped into the interior and went a perfect, highly efficient 3 for 3 from the floor. Plus, inserting Lexi Hull into the starting 5 to maximize perimeter defense gave this team an entirely different, high-intensity energy grid from the jump. Act 5, the core challenge, and looking ahead. But let's keep it completely real, Catch a Dime family, because an elite analyst doesn't just celebrate the highlights. We look at the macro picture. While Caitlin is playing at an MVP caliber baseline, averaging career-high playmaking metrics through the opening stretch of 2026, the Indiana Fever are still fighting for consistency. They haven't strung together consecutive back-to-back victories yet this season. They drop the opener to Paige Buchers and the Wings, bounce back against the Sparks, drop a heartbreaker to the Mystics, and handle the Storm. The talent layout is undeniably elite, but the execution of their late-game defensive containment still needs to tighten up if they want to turn these legendary individual records into sustained championship gravity. Conclusion, the final verdict. The blueprint is clear. Caitlin Clark is doing things in year 3 that players who have spent 15 years in this league haven't achieved, and Sophie Cunningham has established a physical perimeter wall that refuses to break.
Well, how often here out of the Olympic break have we called her name late in games? It's a rebound, it's a defensive.
Now, I need to hear from the sharpest basketball minds on YouTube. Is Caitlin Clark already the most dangerous playmaker this league has ever seen? Or does she need a deep postseason run this year to solidify that title? And what do you think of Sophie's custom merch war? Drop a dime in the comments section down below if you see the vision. Smash that like button to feed the algorithm, and make sure you are completely subscribed with that notification bell. Catch a Dime 100. Out.